Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Payne. This is Science in Brief, August 4th, 2020. And just a little bit of good news here. We'd all use a little good news on coronavirus. New article out last week. It was reported on in CNN. This is a study that was in the Journal of Nature. It came out on July 29th, I believe, and was promptly reported on the next day by CNN. The article is why some people who haven't had COVID-19 might already have some immunity. This is by Jacqueline Howard, July 30th, so she caught it the next day. Good on her. She's way ahead of me. The study looked at a total of 68 healthy adults in Germany, and they also looked at, I believe it was 18 or 19 adults who were hospitalized with coronavirus, and particularly they were looking at T cells in the bloodstream and comparing them, and naturally they found out that the people that were infected did have T cells. Well, 85%, I believe it was, of them had T cells in their blood. But what was really interesting about this was that 35% of these subjects who had not been exposed to the coronavirus also had T cells in their blood that were reactive to the virus, and so were demonstrating some level of immunity. So the question becomes for the researchers, how could the immune system have reactive T cells if the people had never been infected with COVID-19? And the answer seems to be that they were probably acquired in previous infections from the types of coronaviruses that cause the common cold. And there are a number of those, and people are exposed to those on a very regular basis. And when you see this type of immunity from one strain of a virus to another one, that's called cross-reactivity. So T cells that were acquired with one viral infection actually produce immunity for another. Now, there's going to be a lot of questions out here as to what the role of these cells is going to be in the long run. The question is going to be exactly how these T cells affect people that are actually acquiring the virus now. There's some thought that young people might have more of these T cells, and that could be one of the reasons that they're less subject to have severe reactions. There's also some, the reverse of that is that older people may have less of them circulating. What is clear, as she points out in her interview, is that the T cell presence does not prevent people from getting infected, but the question is, does it modulate the severity of the infection? So far, most of the research in this pandemic has been focused on antibodies, and that's kind of been going back and forth as to how much antibody response we have and whether or not it lasts. But this is a quote from Dr. William Schaffner. He's a preventive medicine infectious disease specialist at Vanderbilt School of Medicine. He says, here's a study that suggests there may be some cross-reactivity, some priming of the pump, if you will, with the normal conventional coronaviruses that cause colds. That is in and of itself intriguing because we had thought of this from the antibody perspective, that there wasn't much cross at all. He says this is not entirely surprising because these are all members of the same family of viruses, and still remains to be seen what this all means. It's also going to affect the way we look at the efficacy of vaccines, and I'm going to talk about that. Now, I've got another article I'm going to review for you, but this is going to affect how we look at this. It's also going to affect how we determine how close the population is to getting herd immunity. I mean, if this is in fact sort of a memory of immunity for the body, then that means that 35% of the people that are out here, if those numbers hold to be true, already have some level of immunity, and we're only talking about 60 to 80% that is needed to get to herd immunity. So that's a very interesting thing. There was another paper published by Sete, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Crotty from the University of California. And they noted that 20 to 50% of unexposed subjects display significant reactivity to SARS-CoV-2 antigen peptides. So again, we're seeing that there's more immune reactivity that is present in the population at large, and I think that's to be expected. I've kind of said in the beginning in my conversations with different people that this is certainly not the first time that the human species has come in contact with this particular virus. These viruses have probably been around a lot longer than we have, and so it's almost certainly not the first time that we've come in contact with it. We've survived it before, and the chances are pretty good we're going to survive this thing again. All right, that's all for today. I'm Dr. Mark Payne. This is Science in Brief. If you like this, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. As always, doctors, feel free to share this with your patients if you think it's appropriate. Thank you very much.